Oh my, oh my, oh my. Can't believe it. Momentum is here, guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Effie, for this wonderful welcome. And thank you, everyone who has attended this conference today. And we thank God for this opportunity to meet once again. My name is Lorraine Gbadegesin, and I'm one of the team here at Limitless Women, but I'm also a daughter, a child of God. And I want to talk to you about something that resonated with me. I love studying people. And when I was a young girl in my youth, I was following Dr. Jamie, Pastor Sarah. I would go to their to their church in Nottingham, and I would say to God, if I can see Christian women who are saying yes to you and they can live this life, I want to say yes to you too. And every day I would look forward to seeing Pastor Sarah put her story online. I would listen. And then when I go on a date, I'd be like, no, Pastor Sarah said you shouldn't date somebody like this. You know? So as a young girl, I started learning. And I sat on the feet of Jesus and I said, God, I'm so far away from home. I left Zimbabwe when I was 18 and I'm 40 now. And that time, it's just you and your books. And you're thinking, how do I navigate in a foreign land? But I thank God He placed people in my life that I could look up to. And year in, year out, I started seeing my life changing, just listening to their clips online, learning, even having conversations. I'm learning and I'm picking. So I remember I was having a conversation with Pastor Sarah, and she was in Dubai at that time. And I said, Pastor, are you ever going to come back to UK? She's like, oh, I'm not sure, Lorraine. And I'm like, God, may you answer that prayer. But throughout the conversation and things started happening, I started seeing God's heart ministering to her. And she said, Lorraine, I'm just going to be in the UK for the women's ministry. And that's when I started seeing the power of a yes. This woman is someone that her yes is not a yes because it's convenient for her. For someone to leave sunny Dubai and Kabi year in, year out, to minister to us. Coffee mornings, she's there. But she's got multi things to be tackling. But she's been saying yes to Jesus. And I started to learn that it's not about what you do for yourself. It's about what you do for the kingdom of God. And for me, I remember when she had the first Limitless woman and she showed us what a limitless woman looks like. I started asking God, I said, God, I thought I was done. I thought I've been married, I've got a job. But he said, no, there's still more. And she then gave us a mandate and said, if you're going to come back the same next year, please don't come back. And then at that point, we were unmuzzled. She started speaking to us through coffee mornings, reminding us of where God was taking us and who we were becoming. And as a young mom, I started asking myself, I said, God, I am so sorry. I just thought probably launching my own business was good enough. Having a family was good enough. And at that point, I had been appointed at the Birmingham City University as a board advisor. And I was asking God, I thought that was all. And God told me to write a book. And at that point, I started thinking, I don't come from a family where they are authors. I don't know anyone who's an author. And when I looked at Dr. Jamie and Pastor said about multi-books they've written, and I'm thinking, how would I go about him? But you know what? I just remembered the power of yes. And I started writing. No one knew I was writing a book, even my husband, because I was terrified that if I tell someone and if I decide not to do it, it is just me who's knowing. And then later on, he said, I was like, are you still one? I said, well, you know what? I'm actually writing this book. And the encouragement that I got. So when I started writing this book, I started remembering the words that we heard from the conference where Pastor Sarah reminded us we were being unmuzzled. And the following year, she then gave us a theme, which was breakout. And to me, writing a book was breaking out. I was stepping out of a comfortable situation, starting to do something that I've not done before. But what I learned throughout the journey, that when God gives you a vision or an and ask, he just doesn't leave you there. He starts to send little nuggets that remind you to keep going. And when I started writing that book, the breaking out for me was the sleepless nights, stepping out of my comfort zone, trying to remember all the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur, as transitioning from being an accountant and being a consultant. I started seeing myself like, wow, I've got so much that I can put in a book. I wouldn't have known that without having had said yes to Jesus. And then from there, through all the coffee minutes, we're being reminded. And one of the things that stuck to me was that a lot of people think when you're saying yes, you're comfortable. A yes can cost you a lot. A yes can cost you relationships. A yes can cause pain sometimes. A yes can cause tears sometimes. But you know what? It's worth it. Because when I said yes to writing a book, the doors that opened, I started getting invitations. I was invited at Lloyd's Bank to come and talk about my book. My book was Behind the Classroom Mastering Lifelong Learning. The word God gave me was each and every one of us was something we can share with the world. And learning doesn't stop at any age. If we are continuously growing, and if we want to build a community that is going to grow, it's going to require us to collaborate healthily. It's going to require us to have knowledge sharing communities. It's going to require us to do life together by sharing knowledge, with sharing our expertise, sharing our skills. I started putting those lessons in my book, learning through new opportunities, learning through experiences, learning through networking, learning your numbers. As a business person, you need to know your numbers. I started putting all those topics together. I put the people pillar, which is learning to work with people, learning to build relationships. And when I was invited at Lloyd's Bank, I thought, oh, wow. I started teaching their employees the importance of knowledge sharing. From there, one day I was scrolling through my stories on Instagram. I saw an MP holding my book. I messaged them. I was like, where'd she get my book? Says, oh, one MP found your book somewhere and they shared with me. The next thing, I had my local town inviting me and our local MP joining the campaign from a power of a yes. I had read in radio news I used, my common peers. So you tell me now, why couldn't you just take the pain of saying yes? Because on the other side of your obedience, there is something that God has for you. So if you're here today and it's your first time, you are in the right place. This is a place to play. We have children that are looking at us. We've got a generation that's looking at us. And your yes could change the whole entire generation. So yes, even if it upsets people. Yes, even if you're going through it. Yes, even if you're going to have sleepless nights. Yes, if it's going to take you sacrificial giving. Yes, if it's going to take you doing that extra course. Yes, and it's going to take you spending more time with God, because why? And on the other side of your yes, there is something incredible. Just this one book has changed my life. I have seen doors opening, and even lives being transformed. So what are you going to say yes to? So to Pastor Sarah, I know you're sitting there. I don't just see as Pastor Sarah. You've been sent by God for us. Thank you for your yes. Thank you for saying yes to Jesus. Thank you for leaving everything to come. Remove this phone up in the morning for coffee morning. She's bad, waiting for us. She'll call on her fast, but she could have just decided, let me be me, myself, and I, and my family. But no, she's remembered us.